If you were to swear off either brushing or flossing, which one would harm you most?
Friggin' tough questions, dude. So AI is coming into the dental space. This machine with this arm, like you place the implant in there and screw it down. Are we comfortable with it?
Gotta be insanely rare for a dentist to also just be like, you know what, I'm going to do stand-up comedy on the weekends.
About 3 minutes before I went on stage, I wanted to poo, pee, and throw up.
What's your take on this this fluoride situation?
Let me preface it. I'm an idiot.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Travis Makes Friends podcast. Today, I am making friends with dentist / comedian, which will be an interesting conversation. Dr. Brady Smith, welcome to the show, man.
I'm just happy to be here, man.
Hey.
This is great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. In chilly Las Vegas, you've come to find out.
It's chilly. It is unseasonably counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You know,
unexpected.
In Las Vegas, and I just brought tank tops and booty shorts.
And, right. You had to go buy a shirt just for this interview.
Yeah. Right. I'm really cold. I'm really cold right now, is what I'm trying to say.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's really confusing because when you wake up in the morning and look outside, it's like blue skies, it's the sun's out, and you're like, okay, it's a great day. You walk outside and you're like, I need a jacket.
Yeah. But I'm from Portland, so anything's better.
That's very true.
Not anything.
Yeah.
Most things are better.
Most things are better.
Most
At least
things are
there's
better.
no clouds in the sky.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bingo.
You get to actually see the sun a little bit.
I like Las Vegas.
Isn't dentistry in Oregon or Seattle or something like the highest rate of suicide of any vocation / geography
I've
location
heard
in the country?
that. And okay, so have you
How
heard
does
about
that make you feel?
Have you heard about it geographically specific like that?
Yeah. Like,
Okay, like
it might not have been
specifically
Portland.
dentists in Seattle?
I think it was Seattle though. Yeah.
Okay.
Because one of them, Seattle is the one that gets even less sun than Portland, right?
I think so.
That's true.
They're pretty similar, but yeah.
I think it was literally like dentists in Seattle is like the highest.
Yeah. You know, I get hit with that question a lot. Here's the thing. I mean, I know people.
Really?
I mean, for sure.
I guess that makes sense. I don't know why I'm saying it like I'm surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I know people that, I've had classmates. I've been a dentist for 15 years, and I've had classmates that have taken their own life.
So why do you think that is? Like just the busy schedule?
I mean, here's what I can tell you about dentistry in general. It is a pretty thankless job in general.
Mm-hmm.
People do not want to see you.
Correct.
Nobody wants to go to the dentist. Dude, it's so funny.
I'm agreeing so far.
Yeah. Right? You're like, oh yeah, no, you guys suck. You guys are the worst. So my first week in dental school, you have these like, welcome to the field of dentistry. You guys have chosen, they really pump you up. They make you feel really good. Like you guys have chosen the best profession in the world, and you are going to be pillars of your community. This is the way they talk to you, man.
Yeah.
At least when I went to school.
I mean, it'd kind of be weird if they didn't, though.
Yeah, they're like, you guys are they start calling you doctor on day one.
Oh, nice.
It's nice. It's very humanistic.
Yeah.
It's a humanistic approach. And they're like, you're going to be pillars in your community. People are going to, look to you, as examples of how to live your life. And you're going to get invited to people's weddings and their kids' weddings. I've gone 0.0 weddings, man. 0.0 weddings I've been invited to at this point.
Such a weird example that they would use.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I don't feel the love from my patient base all the time.
Yeah.
You do have to work in dentistry to get the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the purpose of like what you're doing. Like I hated dentistry for the first 5 years. I love it now.
Okay.
And that transition was difficult to make. So, why do dentists take their life? It's physically taxing. It's more physically taxing than you would think.
Just like on your feet all the time.
Yeah. I hate complaining about working a 40-hour week because I have friends who like work in construction. They're like, I'm working 40 hours.
Only 40?
It's like I worked 40 hours by Tuesday.
Yeah, people working on the oil rigs in Colorado or
So
something.
I hate complaining about it, but it is more physically taxing than what you would think. In addition, people don't want to be there. You do make good money, but that also heightens people's skepticism of you, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people put dentists in the camp of like a used car salesman or a shiesty lawyer.
It's kind of one of those industries that's unique because even in rural small town areas, it's still the person with the most money in that area. Like it's not something where it's like, some consulting job or something where like you got to be in New York City to have, you know what I mean? It's like, well, you can be in the tiny town in Arkansas and it's like you're still the guy with all the money in that town.
Yeah, dude, Chris Rock tells a funny joke in one of his specials where he bought this super expensive house, like a $5 million house, and he talks about his neighbor who's a dentist.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. He's like, I thought I made it. I thought I was like made it. And then like my neighbor's like a dentist. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah, but it's...
well, there's probably a correlation there too with the vocation choice because like you probably don't pick dentistry because you're passionate about gum health. You probably pick it because of security, the potential financial future, and then don't enjoy it when you actually get into the work. But I find that basically anything that you create competence in becomes enjoyable, regardless of how mundane it might have started off to be.
You want to know why I want to become a dentist?
Why?
Here's the real. Okay, so there's two answers. Okay. One is what I wrote to the admissions for the dental school that accepted me into the program, which was I used to live in South America, and I saw all these people when I lived in South America that didn't have teeth and how that affected them. That made me so sad. That's what I told admissions. The real reason I wanted to be a dentist, because there was this guy when I was in high school, and he was a dentist, and his wife was a smoke show, and he drove a Porsche, and he had a huge house.
Exactly.
And he worked 3 days a week. And I was like, what does that guy do? And they're like, he's a dentist. That's what I'm going to be.
Done.
That's what I'm going to be. That's the real reason.
That was as simple as it was on career
That's
day.
the real reason. Also, you know, patients are pretty outgunned as far as like discerning what they're being told they need. Right? Like you have,
it's like going
if
to a
I tell
mechanic
you,
shop.
dude, Travis, you need a root canal. You're like, what? I guess, okay.
Right.
This guy says I need a root canal.
Yeah. And you don't have to sell it because the insurance, you build the insurance, right? Like
That's a whole nother thing. Insurance is a very polarizing issue for dentists.
Okay.
Because it's terrible. Objectively, it's terrible. I mean, premium. I mean, it's not even insurance. Dental insurance isn't even a real thing. Dental insurance is not like medical insurance. It's actually pretty misleading to call it insurance. It's more like a coupon type of situation. It's you know, you might get $1,000 a year is all you get towards your teeth, and those benefits haven't changed since about the 1980s. They have not scaled with inflation or the cost of living or anything like that. Yeah. And
there's a business opportunity right there.
Right. So dental insurance is hard. It's hard to just, I mean, for some people, yes, you can just bill the insurance. For some people, when I tell you need a root canal, that's $2,000.
Right.
It's $2,000. You woke up today not knowing $2,000, and $2,000 will absolutely devastate a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
$2,000
like
is
78% of people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah,
like that.
$2,000 cannot. You got to pull it. You know, so it's this.
Well, and if you're going to spend $2,000, you're going to buy a TV or something.
Yeah, and there's no way for you to know.
Right.
How are you going to know if you need a root canal or not? You know, like it's like you got to trust the person you're working with. I feel the same way when I go to a mechanic. They're
exactly.
Like,
that's what I was going to like it.
Your air intake is bad. And I'm like, I know. I've been thinking about that.
I popped the hood the other day and I noticed the same thing.
Yeah. I was dude, the other day I was getting my oil changed for the first time. I just bought a new truck, and I was getting my oil changed for the first time in that truck.
Yeah.
And you got to pop the hood. I've never popped the hood on that truck. And so I'm like fumbling around, like, where's the thing? And the guy working at the Jiffy Lube was like, move over. And he opens the door. And I've never felt so emasculated in my life. Yeah. And he just like reaches like between my legs to this little lever.
Violates
he knows
you
exactly
and
where
your
it
truck.
is.
Yeah.
And pulls a lever, pops the hood. I'm like, I knew where that was.
No, I was just polishing it to make sure.
Dude, I felt terrible. But anyways, dentistry's crazy, man, because you just got to trust the person that you're dealing with. That's what it boils down to. You just got to trust.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's hard to have that trust. So I think there's just this built-in skepticism, and I think dentists feel that, man. Like, I mean, I feel it for sure. Like, I feel times where it's like, I mean, part of my whole thing when I'm meeting someone for the first time as a patient, as a doctor, is like, I just want you to feel comfortable, man. I'm here to like break down. Like, I am here to help you. And what do we got to do to get there? But you meet people who are immediately like, my wife scheduled this appointment. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And they hate everything you're saying.
Well, it's also really rare for a dentist to have your skill set, I think, because I find that most dentists are like their IQ is high, their EQ is extremely low. Like they just
you're
walk
talking
in,
about just general communication skills.
Yeah, oh yeah,
they're
totally.
the worst,
or the
dude.
ability to relate to any human being on any sort of a personal
Right.
level before they just start violating your mouth with metal stuff.
There's so many dentists that just instinctively believe you should value what I value.
Correct.
Instinctively.
Right.
Like
They take it for granted.
they take it for granted. They do. That is absolutely an accurate criticism of a lot of dentists, and the ability to just get on someone's level and be like, communicate.
Right.
And be like, what do you want to do here? Here's the problem. Here's how we could fix it. Here's some options. I mean, just get on someone's level and be like, what do you want to do? This is your mouth. Let's talk about it.
Like, even if you don't care, like, try to make me feel like you do at least a little bit,
Yeah.
before you start just like shooting stuff into my gums.
And then dentists take it personally.
Yeah.
They do. Like
Right.
if you question me or any, like some dentists will be like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a short fuse.
I'm sorry, did you go to dental school?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're like, you need a root canal, you're like, well, what, are there any other options? And I'd be like, immediately just get pissed at you because you asked like that.
Right.
But that's a reasonable question.
Right.
What are the, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say because you just told me this information.
Like, what happens if I don't get one?
Right. Right. And that's a great question. And we'll get into that. Here's what could happen.
Right.
And yeah.
Talk to me about gum health, man. Like, okay, you get told all the time when you're a kid, gotta brush, gotta floss.
Yes.
If you were like, I know this
I hope you get told that a lot as a kid.
This is the worst question for a dentist probably, but if you were to like swear off either brushing or flossing for the rest of your life, which one would harm you most?
Travis coming in with the friggin' tough questions, dude. You gotta swear off one of them. I think flossing, because I already think people aren't flossing. That's why I would choose that. Because I'm like,
this is coming from a lifetime of resisting flossing.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I don't know. I feel dirty if I were to go a day without brushing my teeth.
yeah, that's true. And you feel it on your teeth. It's so gross.
Yeah, you get that grimy grit.
I don't know how you go to bed with like that just nasty.
No, I hate that. So I'd say brushing you got to keep the brushing, and flossing could go.
Okay.
If you had, like gun to the head, got to choose one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But gum health,
In no way am I condoning people like, I heard a dentist on a podcast say you don't have to floss. No, you didn't hear that. There's nuance, there's context. Don't take me out of context.
Yeah, this is the gun to the head question.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of more research recently on just longevity and health in general. And one of the ones that surprised me was how important gum health is to like preventing disease, even like Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that, right?
Yeah. I feel like every year there's more information coming out that links gum disease to other systemic issues. For sure. And I'm not the expert on that.
Yeah. On how it relates to those
But
particular
everything
things.
is connected.
Sure. Yeah.
And the mouth is an area, there are not too many areas like this on your body that you just don't see a lot, right? You just don't have visual, you don't know what's going on
Right.
In there. And so, but it's also an area that gets just jam-packed with garbage all day long, you know? And then if it doesn't get cleaned, like you just don't see that.
All right. I guess I got to floss then.
You got to floss
every day.
You got to get in there, man. It's a good idea. Flossing is
a good idea.
For all the talk on flossing out there, it's relatively simple. It's extremely effective, and people don't do it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's just that's what it is. But it's effective. Good stuff.
What's your take on this this fluoride situation? Everybody keeps talking about fluoride in the drinking water with the whole Make America Healthy Again thing. They're talking about cracking down or at least trying to take fluoride
the
out of
RFK
water.
thing.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. So let me preface it. I'm an idiot. I consume the same internet that everybody else consumes. So let's start with like what I was taught. What's taught to dentists generally everywhere is that fluoride is an element that does remineralize tooth structure. And there is a lot of science that supports that. I think then there's a lot of science that also says that fluoride is bad for you. And so we got that to contend with, right? And so they put fluoride in very minor dosages in your your Crest and your Colgate toothpastes. But there are elements that you can find that have replaced fluoride. There's an element called nanohydroxyapatite, which is a similarly remineralizing compound that is added to toothpastes that will remineralize tooth structures similarly to fluoride. So you could get the same benefit. From what I understand, you can get the same benefit without using fluoride.
Without some of the downsides of fluoride.
Yeah. So if there are downsides to fluoride, or if you believe that there are downsides to fluoride, you could reasonably replace that and just that's a moot point.
Right.
You don't have to use fluoride, but most major toothpastes do use fluoride and have for years. It might make people stupider. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
People are stupid, so you have that.
Yeah. The thing to me is like, if it's a risk at all, like especially the drinking water thing. It's like, okay, leave it in the toothpaste. Sure, when you go to the dentist, put it on after the cleaning. But in our water all the time, like that seems to be kind of an overstep.
Yeah, and I think the part where I would say like I don't really know is like what's the benefit of it in the water?
Yeah,
is interesting.
Well, especially because nobody drinks tap water anymore anyway.
So and the water that crosses a line into we're forcing everybody onto this,
right?
Which just my identity just like screams red flag.
Sure.
Now it's in the water. Now everybody has to do this. And there
especially in something as essential as water.
Yeah,
you can't get off the water supply,
right? Or you're just buying bottled water,
to shower.
So, and Portland, Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, Portland, Oregon, where I'm from the Portland, Oregon area. Mm-hmm. I actually live in Washington.
Okay,
but I think Portland, Oregon, is one of the only major municipalities that still does not.
Oh, really?
Have fluoride in the water. Because Portland's so weird. They're like always like no. They're so crunchy. They're such granola people. They're like no, we're not going to allow that. So there's still no fluoride in the water.
I actually used to sell water purification machines, and we had a team up in Oregon. And I remember going up there, and we would run water tests on people's tap water and stuff. And the water there was always way, way, way better. Than it, especially compared to Vegas. Vegas' water's garbage.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it gets voted on all the time. And then they always just strike it down as like there's like nope, no fluoride.
Okay.
So, yeah, I am. What my position is, there's a reasonable alternative.
Yeah.
That I think is therapeutic in the form of toothpastes.
Yeah.
And things that you can use, medicaments to your teeth and gums, mouth rinses, things like that.
Right.
So there's a reasonable alternative that I think works.
I'm just overall a fan of being able to interrogate the science. Like people always say like the science is settled or whatever, and it's like, well, isn't that the antithesis of science?
Yeah.
Science is not supposed to be settled. You're supposed to continue running experiments and coming up with new hypotheses to test.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that's been like, well, we've had fluoride in the water since like the 60s.
Yeah.
So why would we change it?
And I think if you pulled fluoride out and like there was like a fluoride ban and they're not going to use fluoride in any products, I don't think that means
like people's teeth will be falling out next year.
Yeah, I don't think that's where we jump to. That doesn't seem like there's so many factors of like what causes cavities and gum disease, and it's like it's the diet, it's the medicines that you're on, it's your genetics. There's so many factors. It's your own daily oral hygiene or lack thereof.
Yeah.
There's so many factors that am I like, oh, but if they take fluoride in the water, that's going to be the that's going to be the thing.
Right.
I'm like, I mean, that's a smoking gun for a lot of people. But
how good is the tooth replacement technology coming out in terms of you lose a tooth to whatever decay or getting hit in the mouth or a car accident or something, and you can replace it. Like how good is that?
I mean, so we use dental implants, which are titanium screws.
Okay,
they look like they come from a bucket from Home Depot. If you saw one, you're just like, there's a bucket of those at Home Depot. Yeah, they're 35 cents a piece.
You would just drill it into the skeleton, the bone.
So they're threaded screws that will go into the socket and adhere to the bone. Wow. And it's pretty slick. I do a lot of implants myself, and a lot of dentists do. And it's not 100%. Nothing's 100%.
Sure.
And nothing's as good as an actual tooth.
Yeah.
Nothing's as good as your natural hardware.
Yeah.
You know? But it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And then also there's all these, I always see these like things come up in my feeds, probably because I'm a dentist and my algorithm is like, this guy likes teeth. So let's send this man what he wants.
Right.
So I get lots of tooth stuff. But there's a lot of studies going on and trials going on with like placenta, like stem cell stuff, where they think they can like identify like whatever that makes the tooth buds when you develop as a embryo, that they can isolate that and implant that into your body and grow a tooth.
Wow.
Essentially. Now, I don't know. I'm sure if that was possible, it's going to cost you $800,000 for a tooth.
Yeah, right. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. But it's wild what they can do, you know?
Yeah.
I think like 20 years ago, I saw an article, they grew an ear on a mouse. Like they just grew an ear on a mouse. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
I never saw that. No.
All right. You can pull it up, Google it or something. I remember a picture, like in a newspaper, of this mouse with a human ear.
That's wild.
On top of it.
Yeah, that's one of the most, in terms of AI, one of the applications that I'm most excited for is anything related to like health, longevity, medicine.
Yeah.
Like anywhere where there's just this crazy volume of information that you have to go through 12 years of schooling in order to be able to get certified in. And even then, you still don't know everything. Like, you know, just a fraction of what information is available. So I think like the next decade, 2 decades are going to be very interesting when it comes to all of these things related to any sort of physical health.
I have an interesting question for you. So AI is coming into the dental space in a couple different ways. And I actually want your opinion as a non-dentist, right? Just as a consumer of dentistry. You go to a dentist at some point in your life, right?
Yeah.
You said yeah? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. So one of the ways that AI is being used in dentistry right now is decay identification. So it basically x-rays. So you take your x-rays, it throws it up on a screen. They're digital x-rays. And the software identifies all the cavities for the dentist. Okay. To me, it's a polarizing issue. I hate it. I think it's terrible. I think it's
just not accurate, or
you know, it's just okay. So I always want to know like what a patient thinks. If I'm the one looking at this and saying you have cavities, or if the machine is the one. Now, technically, it's both of us.
Sure.
And what I say to you, obviously, the AI can't control. So if I saw something on the AI, if you look at it, it looks like a paint by numbers. It looks like you see these X-rays on a view box or on a computer screen, and they're highlighted in like a pink little circle, and it'll say, basically, it tells the dentist like, here's where the cavities are, here's where the bone loss is, here's where the bone should be. This like it tells you all this information, right? Because it's compiled with like thousands and thousands and thousands of other X-rays, and this is what a cavity is.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that you deal with as a patient is you could go to a dentist and then one dentist says you have 10 cavities, another dentist says you have 2.
Right.
Because there is subjectivity to this. It's not as
like what do you personally?
It's not as black and white as you think it should be. You know.
I think it would really depend on my trust relationship with my dentist.
All right.
You know, like if I had a dentist that I just never really super trusted, but it was just whatever is like this person's covered under my my dental plan in my company or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I go here, but I don't really like trust this guy's opinion. Like I kind of want to know the second opinion of what a computer would think.
Okay, so you don't feel weird about the computer saying you have 6 cavities?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't, especially as the technology gets better.
All right.
Right now, it might be really rudimentary, or maybe
I feel weird about that.
Really?
Oh yeah, I feel weird
with
about
any
it, man.
sort of medical thing, or just because this is like stepping on your vocation.
Okay, so I also feel like it's going to be used. The companies that create AI. These AI softwares, they're also selling it to insurance companies, which are using it to deny claims. So insurance companies, And they do sell this. So one thing you should know about the AI company is selling this software to dentists, because now you come and sell the software to me, it's $600 a month.
Forever.
Yep. So I have to basically pay for this, but the way they sell it to you, and this is absolutely how they sell it to you, is that you're going to diagnose more cavities. You're missing, doc. There's these studies that are missing.
It pays for itself.
Docs are missing 40% of cavities. There's so many cavities out there. You're missing. You're neglecting your patients. Now you get this software where you're going to be able to see this, and you're actually going to make more money from this. And they're simultaneously going to the insurance company saying, these dentists are being too aggressive with the way they're diagnosing cavities, so you're going to be able to deny claims like crazy. You're going to save so much money from this. And I feel like they're playing both sides. And
so it's not necessarily the product that's the problem. It's all the BS that surrounds the product.
And I just feel like a first-year dental student can see a cavity on an X-ray, and you have enough nuance as a
it's not that big of a problem
as a human. Yes, I just don't think it's a problem. But dentists are crazy about it. They love it. There's a lot. I'm just like. I don't know why.
That's fair.
I don't know why.
I had
but I'm more concerned about like someone like you. Like, no, actually, that's good to know. Actually, that actually like helps me evolve my opinion. Is like someone like you is like, no, I actually am interested in like what the computer says.
Yeah, I think I would be.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say that for everybody, just because I have a general interest in those things, in AI and in helping it improve processes and things like that. But I recently had Dr. Alan Bauman on the show. He's a hair restoration doctor out of Florida.
Oh, cool.
And I went out there as part of like our whole thing, and they did a treatment for me, a PRP treatment.
All right.
Yeah, so platelet-rich plasma treatment on the scalp. And part of that was this imaging that they did to identify, the strength of particular hair and follicles and whatever. And they used an AI. And that was like extremely helpful for them, because it is more difficult to tell from like the naked eye, the percentage of hair follicles that are this particular width versus the percentage of hair follicles that are this particular width versus the ones that are non-existent where they used to be.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
It like spit out this whole image where it rates the different hair strands as like green, red, or yellow, strong, weak, medium, or whatever. And it was extremely helpful for them. So, but that's also, like you said, like if any, first-year dental student can spot a cavity, then maybe it's just not as necessary for the dental field as it would be in some of these other fields.
You ever watch The Office?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's
only 6 or 9 times.
Right. So there's an episode where Michael Scott is following the GPS and runs his car right into a lake. Because the GPS says turn right.
I drove my car into a lake.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's what this is to me. This is like you're taking the human element out of it, and you're just gonna I don't know, like, if dentists become reliant on that, especially like right out of school, you're so reliant on the systems that you implement. Like,
you don't sharpen the skill.
Exactly right. Yeah. So the ability to be like, well, without this, can I actually do it? And the answer is, yeah, you can. And how sad it would be if you couldn't. But
that's fair.
Yeah, AI is interesting. Are you worried about like a Terminator situation, like Skynet becoming aware? Because I am actually kind of worried about that. Elon Musk is making robots.
I know, like eerily similar to the iRobot robots.
Dude, he
got sued over the fact, like the writers of that movie, the producer of that movie sued Tesla because they were like, this is too similar to our robots that took over the world. You know what I mean?
Science fiction is becoming reality. Right?
I don't know, man.
Because I think there's got to be a dangerous element to it, too.
I just don't understand it well enough to give an educated response to that question. You know what I mean? Because like, if you had somebody who truly deeply understood AI and you asked them that question, they would actually know based on like what the code that they're writing and the potential restrictions or whatever that they'd be able to put on there, or they would know. Me throwing out an opinion is basically just as much science fiction as the movie would be. It's like I could sit here and pretend like that's going to happen, but it could also just be a huge leap forward and advancement in human technology or something like that too. So I don't have a good answer for that. It is kind of scary to think that potential is there, especially when you marry it with quantum computing, which doesn't seem like it's too far away. Especially with AI continuing to get better. Like AI is going to get to figure out quantum computing probably before a human's going to figure out quantum computing.
What's quantum computing? Is that when they develop feelings?
No. So it's just it's the ability.
That worries me.
It's the ability for, and again, I'm no expert in this, so Google it to double check me on all this. But quantum computing, as I understand it, is basically right now computers communicate in binary, right? So it's all ones and zeros.
Okay.
And so with quantum computing, it works much more like functioning like a brain. Like there's unlimited characters, numbers.
See, the hairs on my neck just went up. When you said that, I'm just like, nope, they can't have brains.
It looks more like neurons firing rather than just like two options, if that makes sense. So the computing ability is going to be, 10,000 times the world's best supercomputer that we have right now, as I understand it. So quantum computing married with AI is, going to be pretty insane. Like the exponential transformation in technology that will occur when those two things are able to actually collide and produce things is going to be equivalent to what it's been in the last decade, where it's just like we've already feel like pre-iPhone was like we're making progress, but computers took up whole rooms still in like the 70s. That was not that long ago. But then now the thing in your pocket, I just saw NVIDIA came out with this computer. It's like this big. It's 1,000 times more powerful than an average MacBook, and it's like $3,000. They just unveiled it at CES here in Vegas like last week. So it's like when you look at that and what that computer can do, and it's this big, and it used to take up a full room for like a megabyte of storage or computing power, and the sheer traction that we've made in that space over the last couple of decades is insane. When that happens, it'll be an inflection that will make this look like steady growth instead of a hockey stick. You know what I mean? That hockey stick will be just like straight up to the moon, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
I have another dental question for you as a consumer. I'm really curious. So I'm at a dental conference this weekend here in Las Vegas, and there's a machine that is being there's a vendor, and they have a machine. It's a machine that will place an implant in your mouth. Humanless. So now, similar to my last question, are you okay with a computer telling you how many cavities you have? Would you rather have a human, me, just a guy like me, just a dude, just a guy like, this guy knows what he's doing, right? Just imagine yourself in a chair with your mouth open, and this machine with his arm,
like you're on an assembly line.
Yes, and then that is what's going to actually drill the hole into your bone, and then place the implant in there and screw it down.
Yeah.
Are we comfortable with it? How do you view that as a non-dentist?
So theoretically, I'm okay with the idea, but I'm not signing up to be first. I'm not signing up to be 100th. Like I'm like
you're like, let's
in a
research
decade.
this.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Let's figure this out.
It's
this is interesting.
When you have 1 million case studies, and I can look at it and be like, okay, it actually makes fewer mistakes or whatever. Then at that point, it's like, all right, then put me in the chair. But I'm not signing up for the first few years of that.
Right.
Stuff.
I know. I got a friend of mine who's a dentist, and he has one. It's like a $200,000 machine.
I'm sure
it's crazy. So it's been around for a couple of years, and I've watched. You can watch them. It's called Yomi, Yomi. I'm not sponsored by them. I should be.
Yeah.
But you can look at videos online. I just say that so any listener, if you want to go watch a robot place an implant, and the dentist I know did it on himself.
Wow.
And you just sit there, and my gosh, you got to sit still, dude.
No kidding. Yeah, you better like strap me in.
You better sit still.
Better not sneeze.
Yeah. But it's just these advances in technology. It is wild, man.
Yeah,
and it just seems like, dude, I mean, I've been a dentist for 15 years. In the first 2 or 3 years, I was still using analog x-rays. You take the x-ray, I got to put it in a developer.
You got to develop it, yeah.
And it would take me 15 minutes to look at the little x-ray, put it in a little view box. And that was like my time.
Right, which wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that. We're talking 2010, 2012. I was still using analog x-rays.
Right.
And then I made the jump to digital, and that was like 10 years ago, dude.
Right.
And so now it's just like, now a robot can 100% take my job.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so sweet. Thank you, Matt. Thank you,
cool.
Dental School. Yeah.
And you wonder why dentists kill themselves, dude. We're just obsolete, man. No one needs us.
Oh man! All right, let's talk comedy. Like I said, it's a got to be insanely rare for a dentist to also just be like, you know what, I think I'm going to do stand-up comedy on the weekends. Well, why or how did you get into that?
Yeah. Okay, so I started doing TikTok.
Okay.
in like the beginning of 2022. And if I go back, I started doing TikTok at the advice of a mentor of mine. I think you probably know Patrick Bet David.
Oh yeah, he's been on the show.
He's been on the
times.
show, I think, right? I think I saw that. He's been on the show. So years ago, I kind of got turned on to Patrick Bet David and the stuff that he was talking about, and I signed up for a mastermind with him, and it's probably the best money I've ever spent. And I wanted to grow a nonprofit organization called the Halo Dental Network, and I've started lots of businesses, but they're all dental businesses. Right, so I know how to do that. But starting a nonprofit was really hard, and so I got his advice on that. And one of the things he said was, "Dude, your personality is so dynamic. You need to get on TikTok." And I was like, "But I don't know how to dance, and I'm not a little girl."
Yeah.
and he said,
two pretty solid objections, really.
And then he's like, "Brady, tomorrow, 100,000 people could know who you are. 100,000 people, and it's free."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You need to not sleep on this." And so I started a channel. And I just kind of put my own personality out there, you know? And so and it just resonated with a lot of people. So I got a big following.
What was it, kind of like education based or entertainment based?
Not so much, man. You know, it's more entertainment.
Okay.
Always entertainment. Dentally centric.
Yeah.
For sure. I just think teeth are something everyone can relate to in some way.
Yeah.
Everyone's got teeth or started that way, you know? Right. So at least started that way. And so everyone goes to the dentist, or everyone thinks about going to the dentist. Everyone has a dental experience.
Yep.
You know, as far as like things you remember for like ever, removal of your wisdom teeth is almost always like, where were you when 9/11 happened? Like it's like you remember your experience with wisdom teeth being removed, no matter how old you are. It's a very, you know, it's entrenched into your brain in somewhere. Every single person. So I started getting a following, and it wasn't dentists. It was people. It was non-dentists who mostly would follow me. They just liked my take and like how I talked about dentistry.
Yeah,
and that's always been a tool that I've been capable of, a skill that I have is to just break it down normally. Like the ability to recognize, like, you're not a dentist, let me talk to you like a regular person. Let me tear down the walls of dentistry and tell you this is what's going on.
Yep.
And so that went off really well. And I started doing like musical parodies. Like I play guitar and sing. And so I would do parodies. And then, and also as part of the Halo Dental Network, the charity that I run, for probably 10 years, I've been doing free dental work on comedians.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, I just kind of bond with comedian type people. Just because I'm just naturally inclined towards jokes and laughter and all
levity
that.
In general.
And so I have a lot of friends who are comedians because I've been doing, like, you know, some dentists will, like, you know, have a soft spot for veterans or victims of domestic violence or something like that. And for me, it was like, no, I just like these degenerate comedians. So I just want to help out these
None of them have dental
road
insurance,
warriors that just eat corn nuts all day long and ruin their teeth. It was the worst. I should have chosen different people. But I became friends with a lot of comedians through my career. And then this TikTok thing blew up. And I started getting solicited by dental conferences. Come to our conference and perform your music parodies and tell jokes.
Okay.
And I was like, awesome. And the first one that I was invited to was in Las Vegas here. It was at, I want to say Caesar's Palace. It was 2,000 people.
Damn. All dentists.
Dental professionals, yeah. And I was opening for Sebastian Maniscalco. Really? That was their keynote. And it was like my first gig.
Yeah.
And I've been in a band for a long time. I've been like in a spotlight. I am always cracking jokes in classroom situations. You know, I've always been a class clown.
That event?
What's that?
When was that event, that first one?
That was in May of 2023.
Okay.
So not too long ago.
Yeah, pretty recent.
And I it did not even register to me that I was going to be nervous because it's not in my DNA to be nervous. Yeah. Like I don't get embarrassed. That's just not, it's very difficult to embarrass me. And about 3 minutes before I went on stage, I wanted to poo, pee, and throw up.
Yeah.
Like it was not just like a mental thing like, hey, snap out of it. It was physical. It was a physical, visceral thing. And so, but I went on stage and I did it, and I did great, and I'm very happy. I was proud with my performance. But then I was like, if I keep on, but then that led to more performances.
Did Sebastian Maniscalco see the performance?
No, not that time.
Okay.
The next year they brought me back and I opened for Ray Romano. I got to meet Ray Romano. And,
Oh, nice.
And that was more of like, we were kind of hanging out together a little bit.
That's awesome.
But Sebastian Maniscalco comes in with like 2 armed Caesar's Palace guards.
Yeah.
And then he shows up like 2 minutes before he goes on stage and then leaves. So there was I was excited to meet him. I'm a big fan and he killed it. But no, I didn't actually get to meet him. But that led to more gigs, more dental. There was a large group of people like, hey, come to our conference too. And then I was like, but I'm so nervous. So I went back to my comedian friends and I was like, hey, can I have some spots locally? Can I do local shows? Can I get time? And they would give me time. So I started doing stand up. And then I was like,
were all of your jokes up to that point about teeth and dentistry?
I would say it definitely. I think my comedy is enjoyable for people who are not dentists.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is my.
Yeah, you draw on your experience. To write.
It is my experience, my unique look on life. If you look at someone and why they're funny or why you like them or what comedians you like, there's something about them that like you relate to.
Sure.
Right. So definitely, I would say 90% of my comedy is dental based.
Okay.
But relatable for sure.
So how often have you been going up since that time?
So now I go up, a couple times a month.
Nice.
I'm not like most comedians are working like 5 nights a week. They're up there. I'm not doing that.
2 spots a night, 5 nights a week. Yeah.
I'm super beginning at it, but it's I really enjoy it. I feel super comfortable. It's a new thing. I'm doing a tour that's starting in April, where like a 14-city tour. And
Sweet.
We're bringing people out, man, and we're selling out every show. The last 4 shows we've done, we're selling out clubs, nice, and man. So we're excited to ramp it up a little bit more.
Where are you taking the tour?
Mostly West Coast. We're doing California, Texas, some Texas cities. You can go to drbradysmith.com to kind of see all the cities and tour dates.
Awesome.
I've been trying to stay local. I mean, I've run 3 businesses, 3 dental practices, and I am married. I have 4 kids. Busy life.
Yeah.
And so, my wife has
lots of
allowed
spare
me.
Time, yeah.
Here's the thing. You go to your wife as a dentist for 15 years and you're like, I would like to be a stand-up comedian now. And she says, would you like a new wife as well?
Right.
Because we can make that happen.
New career and
and I'm like, I don't want to not be a dentist. I'm the kind of guy who's like, if I win the lottery tomorrow, if I have $1 billion tomorrow, I still want to work 2 days a week. I like it. I like it. So, but I do like comedy as well. So, but she's super supportive, which is nice. And because it takes a lot of time.
Would you see yourself stepping away from the practice, like still having them, running them, doing some meetings and stuff, but ultimately doing more comedy than anything else?
My purpose is, comedy's fun. It's fun to make people laugh. But my purpose, deep down, my purpose is helping people transform their smiles.
Okay.
And so that is like part of my identity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It's like, that's my thing. That's what I like. I didn't always I hated dentistry for the first 5 years, but like I do love it now. And there's a lot of things that have happened that have helped me kind of make that transition to hate something than to love it.
Yeah.
But it's all the way that I view it and how I do it.
Yeah.
But one of the things was doing free work. So that's why I started doing free work for comedians, because it just feels good to do stuff for people that they can't do for themselves.
Sure. So as I pop another one of these Zins in, how much am I ruining my gums here by using these nicotine pouches?
It's such a new product that we don't know, but you're going to be the guinea pig to find out, Travis. We're going to find out, right?
We'll find out for sure. Yeah.
I just saw someone like 2 weeks ago, actually, and they had like some ulcerations, right? Okay, so if you chew tobacco, if you chew tobacco, it's similar where you put it like in a spot.
Yeah.
Like everyone who chews tobacco has a spot they put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I can identify that as a dentist in an exam in a second.
Yeah.
I can be like, you chew tobacco, and that's where you put it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes the tissue, it looks like when you've been in the pool for too long and your fingers are all like wrinkled, like the tips of your fingers are, all pruning. It prunes the tissue. And so it's super obvious. And the only 2 times in my entire 15-year career that I have ever found oral cancer, like seen it and been the one to find it and get it diagnosed and start the ball rolling, it is in 2 individuals that were chewing tobacco, and that tissue just kind of starts getting gnarly and starts growing shit. And so stuff. Keeping it professional. But those are the only 2 times. So when I see someone with the Zens, it's obvious, but different.
Okay.
So that's all I know.
Obvious,
is that
but different.
It's obvious that you're doing it.
Yeah.
I can see that it is having an effect on your gum tissue. But it almost looks somewhere between that pruning of the tissue and like if you burned yourself with pizza. Like if you burned, like if the tissue,
that would make sense. Yeah,
like it's some kind of ulceration.
It does burn a little bit.
Yeah,
especially when you're first starting, it burns.
Okay. Yeah. So I am, but I'm not a scientist. Yeah. I can tell you're doing it.
Yeah, and it is so new. Like we don't know what the long term repercussions are on anything that's brand new.
I hope not. I hope this doesn't.
I also hope not.
I hope that for everyone using Zen.
Right.
So I've
just heard some like really good things about nicotine in general recently that have made me be like, I like experimenting with nootropics, anything that gives me the ability to kind of produce better creatively when I'm writing or when I'm podcasting or something like that. I take these like little Magic Mind nootropic shots that are, just organic, matcha shots that have a bunch of different nootropic factors like ashwagandha and cordyceps and things like that. I take those a lot of times before
cordyceps
podcasting.
are the fungus that that whole show was based on, right?
I don't know. What show?
Cordyceps? What's the one with Pedro Pascal and they all turn into zombies, but it's a fungal infection?
Oh, I don't know.
Last of Us. Last of Us?
Oh, I've seen.
It was a video
I've
game.
not seen it, but I've seen it. I think
cordyceps were the fungus
Netflix.
that they used in the show.
Oh,
to
really?
They inhabit your body. Anyway, I don't mean to scare you. It's
sweet.
It's really cool. It's a really cool show.
Yeah, so there's no free lunch, basically, is what you're telling me. Yeah. There's always downsides.
I'm pretty open minded. I think as compared to most dentists when it comes to like holistic approaches. Yeah, and I do think diet and nutrition is super slept on.
Oh, that was one thing I wanted to throw out. The carnivore diet. I've heard anecdotal support for gum health, teeth health as it relates to a carnivore diet. Have you seen anything like that? Or do you know what the research says?
So I have been doing carnivore for the last 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And
exclusively carnivore.
Oh, I would say I'm Monday through Friday. I'm like 85% religious about it.
Okay.
On the weekends, I'm like 60% religious about it.
Okay, got it.
I like my sweets.
Yeah, same.
But I do know I have patients who have done it for sure. And carbs and sugars are what causes, what leads to cavities.
Okay. Would that also include like fruit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that would. So I don't think so what happens is the bacteria digest the sugars or the carbohydrates, which carbohydrates and sugars are pretty indistinguishable on a molecular level.
Okay.
So the bacteria process them the same. And then the bacteria create acid, and the acid is what erodes your teeth. So the bacteria don't erode, the presence of bacteria does not erode your teeth, doesn't cause decay. When you look at decay, decay is like a brown spot on a banana, right? And once it starts, it continues to go. Okay. Just slower than a banana, decomposition. So it's the acid that the bacteria produces, and that is what erodes and decays your teeth. Gotcha. And the acid is produced when the bacteria eats carbohydrates and sugars.
So theoretically, if there were a particular diet that would be better for your teeth, it would just be staying away from carbs and sugars.
Yeah, so if you're only eating meat, eggs and cheese, lactose would definitely be a sugar.
Okay.
But like if you're just like strict meat,
eggs, beef, chicken.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have cavities.
Interesting.
Based on what I know.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson is a very well-known person who is strictly meat. And I have seen clips of him.
Very strictly, from what I understand.
Very strictly. And I have seen clips of him saying that his periodontal is completely reversed. And I do not have a problem believing that. So I think it was on Rogan, on a Rogan episode, he said that he's one of the things he just casually mentions, but I have zero problem believing that.
Yeah, I think his daughter Michaela too is
Yep.
very prominent in pushing that forward for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think scientifically it makes biologic sense.
Okay.
You're just starving out the bacteria that caused the problem. So
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good benefit, I think.
Well, it's been great, man. I want to turn the conversation a little bit towards money because I have another podcast called Travis Makes Money.
All right.
And so on that show, we talk exclusively about money. We have a few minutes left, so I figure why not?
Let's do it.
Talk about that for a second. What's your overarching philosophy when it comes to money in terms of your personal lifestyle? Not necessarily growing the businesses, building the businesses, but when it comes to lifestyle expenses, lifestyle bloat, what's your personal financial philosophy?
You know, I have very middle-class aspirations.
Okay.
And I have an income that allows me to sustain my middle-class aspirations. I don't want a private jet.
Yeah.
I run 3 businesses. I own real estate with some of those businesses.
Okay.
And I'm comfortable, super comfortable.
Yeah.
But I do feel like my philosophy is sustaining a lifestyle that I am providing for my family and providing for my, just sustaining that, I guess. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I guess just as it relates to kind of percentages when you look at lifestyle burn versus income. Like, are you looking at are you trying to put a certain percentage away into the future versus investing into things now, like experiences that make your life richer?
Yeah. I love spending money on experiences. I do not like spending money on things.
Okay.
Except for investments. Okay. I have a weird, I don't know about weird, I'm into collectibles. So I'm into comic books.
Okay.
And I just bought a first generation iPhone, factory sealed iPhone.
Oh, factory sealed, wow.
Yeah, and I spent $40,000 on it. But I believe that's going to 10x.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, factory sealed like
in
that.
time.
Yeah.
So it's a factory sealed, legitimate iPhone 1. And you're just not going to find these anymore.
Right.
But I got into this by getting into collectibles like comic books. So comic books are my thing, and I spend a lot of money.
Your vice, financial vice.
I have comic books that are 6-figure comic books.
Yeah.
And so those are things I spend money on.
Yeah.
And
lifestyle investments. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I could do other things. I could buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. Buy Ferrari.
Yeah.
Right.
But I want to have cool shit to look at.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I want it to be something that, like, I can see them be like, that's badass, dude.
Right.
That's super cool. Like, I put them in areas where I can see, my things. I like my things. So I do like things, but I'm careful with the things. But like a house, it's more like I approach that as like, what's reasonable for us?
Sure.
For our necessities.
Yeah, well, I think that touches on a really great thing, which is basically don't buy dumb stuff first of all, if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
But second of all, if it's not something that you truly want. Because you see people buying stuff just to impress other people that don't give 2 shits about them.
Yeah.
They still buy that stuff to impress those people. But when you're buying, if you truly, genuinely value cool cars, then buy a cool car.
For sure.
But if you're doing it to impress the person that lives down the street, probably not a great use of your money.
Yeah. And you'll lose that money. I mean, like that's you're going to be reckless with that. I mean, I think, so money is not something that I don't want to say I don't care about it. It's just that the money comes.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, I have a couple really well-oiled machines. Mm-hmm. My dental practices are well-oiled machines. They do very well. Mm-hmm. And I just stopped worrying about it. Yeah. I don't live a life where I think about how much something is going to cost because I know that the things I want to buy are not going to supersede that. Well, I would worry about that. It was like, my goal in life is I want to own an NBA team.
Sure.
I have to
wildly different goals.
Wildly different. Yeah, and I don't think that's bad.
No,
at all.
Just what do you want?
It's just like I'll never have $100 million because I will cash out at $3 million.
Yeah, right.
I'll just never make it because I'm like, no, I'm pretty happy with, my middle class lifestyle.
Well, listen, man, this has been fun. Where can people go find a little bit more about you, follow your stuff?
Definitely on the socials, TikTok and Instagram, Dr. Brady Smith, Dr. Brady Smith, and then drbradysmith.com is also a place where you can find all the things I'm up to. If you want information about the Halo Dental Network, if you want to find out where I'm going to be and come see a live show, that's all there on the website.
Sweet.
Yeah.
drbradysmith.com. Go check out some of the stuff that he's putting out there on TikTok and Instagram. And if you're in one of the cities that he's going to be at, drbradysmith.com. Go over there, get some tickets, support him, support his show. Dude, thanks so much for doing this. A lot of fun.
Thank you, man. This was fun.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Everybody tuning in, watching, listening. As always, remember to leave every relationship better than you found it. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.